Matt Lenihan Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and R Kings. Delighted to be joined by Frank the Tank Smith here today. Done your run, guns are out, mate. You feeling good, aren't you, this week?
Getting a suntan, it's nice. Something about living in the sunshine, actually. It's much nicer than waking up into the rain of London, isn't it? Yeah. What a place to be. We're in Orlando, Caribe Royale. Can't ask for much more.
We just sort of said off camera, look, we're kind of all blagging a living here, but you know when you come to places like this and you say, look, we are actually here to work, and you look around and go, you know, it's a blessed position to be in, isn't it?
It's a nice place to do work, you know. I think you get more done when you wake up and you walk outside and the sun is shining and there's not a cloud in the sky. You get a lot more done, I think. A lot more positive way of life. So I think we're gonna have to chase the sunshine.
You mentioned chasing the sun. I want to touch a little bit about what you said off camera. I want to touch on it. I was surprised because I always saw you as this figure who'd be in boxing for the long haul. Yeah. I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but we're going to go there. And you were saying, look, 5 years max, I'm out of this game. You're only still young. I think you're probably the same age as me. You're 32. Yeah, you're probably younger than me. I'm 33 tomorrow. And thank you, mate. But you're wanting to leave this game in a maximum of 5 years. Why?
I think I say 5 years, and I do believe in 5 years I will be out the door. I think I've worked, and there's been a lot of people who have probably done it as well for a lot longer and put up with it for a lot longer. But I don't want to be stuck in boxing. Like, boxing's like a brutal business to be involved in, and I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of arseholes in boxing. There is. I'm being complete. It doesn't mean I can't work with them, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I can sit and I've said this so many times, I can sit and do business with people who I don't necessarily get on with, don't align with, I don't agree with the way they are as a person, etc. But you know, there's only so long I want to do that for, you know. And cause I said to Eddie, we were walking along the beach in Puerto Rico at a show in December, and I said, can you imagine what it would be like going to bed not rowing with anyone and waking up not rowing with anyone? Because that is what a lot of boxing is. And I'm quite realistic. We're all replaceable, right? Yeah. And that's probably the key that's kept me from becoming complacent. We're all replaceable, and there will always be someone better. It's just the truth. Might not be today. You might be the best. There might be a period you're the best at what you do in the world, right? But life goes on, and someone comes along, and they're very good. And you know, Matchroom, without me, carries on with someone who may be even better than me. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, so, and also I think as you get older, you change your mindset as to what's important in life, right? And I think when I was look, I've done well because I've worked my bollocks off. But when you're younger, you think, just all life's about is money, right? And don't get me wrong, money is very important, and money does. I disagree with people when money doesn't buy you happy. I think it does because it gives you times to enjoy yourself. Like, it's experiences, right? For me, it's like not necessarily as much. I have nice things, but for me, life has become less about nice things. It's about experiences. It's about doing things where you go, do you remember that time we did this, or do you remember we did this, or do you remember this? And like, that for me is what the most important thing in life is. And that isn't really defined by money necessarily. It's defined by time and enjoying yourself with people you want to be around, you know, that you want to spend your time with. So I think my mindset has probably changed over time. Whereas I love nice things. I'm probably a snob, right? I love going to nice hotels. I love doing nice things. I love a nice lifestyle. I'm not going to sit here and lie and pretend and act like I don't. Obviously I do. But at the same time, it's about the experiences, and you need the time to enjoy those experiences. And currently, this lifestyle doesn't give you the ability to enjoy things to the fullest. Because when I go away, like I went away with my mate skiing the other day, I'm just on my phone. But that's the price you pay for the. And it's not complaining because I don't have to do it. I could go and, do something else, or I could go and. You can go like the Western world. I think is. We're driven into this mindset. You must go to work. You must work your whole life to earn money and pay your mortgage. Blah 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 blah. Like, you can go and live in some of these countries, around the world, and live like a king for the money, for many many years. And like, it's about what's important to you, isn't it? and everyone's got a different view, and that can change over time. And I suppose that's what it is. It's changing over time. I want to spend more time with family in years to come. I want to have kids. I want to enjoy myself, and that's why I've always put the work in from 14 years old, like I have, because I don't want to do it when I'm 60. Because I've seen people do it when they're 60, and still chasing something. And I think as well, I've been lucky enough to meet so many successful people, right? And not just successful people, but all walks of life. What success is all different, isn't it? But financially successful people as well, and they're never happy. They're never content. And I think it's what is content to you and content to me is getting to a place where you can do what you want when you want. And that doesn't mean you've got to be a billionaire or a millionaire. Everyone's lifestyle is different. Is different as to what their life is. And I think for me it's just about finding that place where you can enjoy yourself.
Has boxing grinded you down? Because when I see you, obviously we see you. I think everyone who meets you will say you're fairly quite placid. You go with the wind. You don't put on a stressful face. Don't get me wrong. There's stressful times, and I'm sure behind the scenes you're doing your nutting, speaking to people. But has it got to that point where recently maybe you've thought, you know what, I don't want to let boxing grind me down? Because like you mentioned there, you deal with, in your words, arseholes every day. So is it a case of not letting boxing grind you down to that point where it does take over?
Look, I don't get stressed, because early on in my career I realised that everything happens one way or the other. It's not always going to be the ideal way, but you always get there some way. And I think that was good early on. I realised actually there's no point getting stressed. And as long as you put your all into something and give it 100% and know, people can have opinions on you. The only opinion I really care about is people who know me inside out, right, and myself. Because if I sit back and go, you didn't do enough there, or you didn't, that is all I need. And I can sit here and say, I've never not pushed to the absolute limit of what I can do. And grinding me down, not really. It's just more the fact of, I could carry on doing this, but it's more the fact of what you want from life. And I don't, when I go away, I want to be able to put my phone in a drawer for 7 days and come back to it 7 days later. I'm not one of those people, and someone said to me the other day, if you do this, people won't talk to you. Because I'm not arrogant to think people want to talk to me because of me. A lot of people want something, you go through life and you meet a lot of people who want something out of you. And the day I stop, if 50%, 75% of people don't want to talk to me, so be it. I've got enough people in my life that I enjoy my time with that doesn't bother me. I'm not chasing, I haven't got an ego. To what many people may think, I haven't got a single ounce of ego. I haven't got an ounce of jealousy. You speak to anyone, I want people to succeed. I love people succeeding, and there's no jealousy here, there's no ego. So it's just, I suppose it's not grinding down, it's just more the fact of what you want from life. And I get that changes, and that might change next year, and it might change in 5 years, it might change in 10 years.
Have you spoke to Eddie about this? Because I think everyone from the outside looks and goes, Eddie always says he has a plan to get out and this, and we think, you're not going anywhere, you love this game. But we always sort of, I think from the outside I look and think, Frank's sort of the natural successor who's in the role doing the things that people don't see, and you step into that. Is he aware of your sort of 5-year plan as it stands, and is he thinking, shit, what's going to happen here?
No, but look, I think when you look at our business as a whole, we're like operators. We're not just boxing. We spoke about this the other day. We're in a huge range of sports, and it's about operating and delivering high-level events, right? In 5 different sports with 450 events a year across those sports, right? Back to back, we got 4 events on this weekend around the world in different sports, so, and I'm very much more of as much as I do this kind of stuff, it's not what my focus was, it's not what I thrive to be. Eddie is a showman. You can't beat Eddie at what he does. I think the industry's changing as well as to what, when you talk about promoters and faces I want to create a business, and I've always said that is successful beyond an individual, right? So create brands and IPs and things that are successful beyond one individual, because you can't just rely on an individual. As much as Eddie is a huge name in the sport. We've got to utilise that platform that he's built as well and build our brand and say, do you know what, they're the best at what they do, you know. So I speak to him quite a lot. We're very different. Like, people think we're the same person.
No.
He is the ultimate showman and has such a passion for boxing, and I'll probably get a bit boxing was never been my main focal point, right? I love putting on events, I love putting on shows, you know, and I look at boxing more from a casual audience. Like, at the end of the day, boxing hardcores are obviously important, you know, and that fan base is important, so I'm not questioning that. But with all sport, you want to take it to that next level, and to take it to that next level, you need to widen the horizons to a broader audience than just those that are watching right now. So for me, that's always been the focus. He knows what I'm like, but I'm never going to not work. Does that make sense? But I can't. I accept that I can't do 300 nights in hotels every year and 100 odd flights, because, mate, I'll have a heart attack somewhere. Like, that's just, and I think anyone would say that. And I've been doing. It's not like, as much as I'm young, I have been working like this, especially probably the last 7-8 years. You know, I've been non-stop since we launched in America. This is what my lifestyle's been like, and it's a great lifestyle, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying it's not sustainable to do that for 20 odd years. It's like, what is it, like traders who, you know, work in the trading floors and, like, you know, they burn out. I'm just saying, before I have, you know, a cardiac arrest on a plane because I eat too much and I travel too much, my lifestyle is unsustainable, I'm just thinking that's my plan. And again, like I say, might change. Who knows? And I'm never going to be someone who doesn't work. It's just, I suppose, when it consumes, the business consumes us and what we do, like our every day is consumed by it. And over time, I'm sure you go, actually, I'd rather it go this way. And maybe I'd do a year of that and go, oh, this is boring. But you never know, because it's all I've ever known since I left school.
Do you ever look back and think, since you left school, you know, everyone always used to, I suppose, more so when promoters weren't on good terms, you'd get the T-boy thrown at you from your mate Frank, and it's nice to see everyone sort of, you know, amicable and talking, and you've always said, look, we're always willing to do business. But do you look back now at, like, so at the early age, still at 32, and go, shit, you know, come a long way, I've done all right for myself starting off doing that to what you're doing now? Because behind the scenes, I think obviously you mentioned Eddie's the showman, the front man, he does the promoting himself, like, in how he does it, but there's a lot of nitty gritty and the stuff that you do in the background, which is so long and takes up time. Do you look sometimes and think, you know what, I've done all right here?
Yeah, and I think that's like part of the reason is I've been involved in some mad things over the years, and mad events, and like run events all around the world in the best venues you could ever imagine, like doing crazy shows, like, and I think sometimes you get to the point where you go, wow, look at what we've done, you know. And I think where we move at such a pace of 35, 40 shows a year, week after week after week after week, it's very hard. You never really look back. But I think now I look back, you know, like, you go back to Joshua Klitschko. What was that, 2017? That was 8 years ago. I was 24 years old running an event at Wembley, 90,000 event at Wembley Stadium. You know.
It's madness.
Yeah, and like, I've done that for so long. Saudi Arabia, the first time we went there in 2019 with the Joshua Ruiz fight, that was 6 years ago. I was 26, and I basically, you know, with a group of run and oversee that event, you know. And I've done, without being big-headed, I've done everything. And although I'm not the front man of our business and the T-boy job, I find it funny. Yeah. I don't get really, like, I'm not chasing down for people to go, oh, he's amazing, right? As long as the people who I know and I respect go, do you know what, he's fucking good. Like, that's all I care about. The internet, most people still go, oh, absolutely clueless, Eddie's PA, this, that, the other. Hey, I'm glad to be Eddie's PA. I'll be Eddie's PA all day long.
But that sort of tag of the T-boy, I think it makes me laugh, because I almost think, well, you know, in life people get a head start, but you started, you know, right there, and that's be classed as the bottom, and it's like your apprenticeship, it's your thing, but you've sort of then, you know, muddled your way to where you are.
Yeah, but people say I was like Eddie's mate. I met Eddie.
You met him at Hearn?
I met him at Romford Greyhound track. I knew people who knew him, but I didn't know him. myself. And I called him a tight bastard when I was 14 because he bought 20 quid's worth of raffle tickets and I wanted 50 quid. And there was, like, I always say as well, like, you know, regardless of whether I knew him, right, even if I did know him and I got given a position, you only get to the place we get to on merit. It's not based on, oh, well, he knows this person. If you're shit, you're shit. Doesn't matter whether you know him or you don't know him. So I just worked my arse off, and I've never stopped working my arse off. And people, you know, like, everyone's got a different work ethic and view on work and stuff. And it's like, I've never changed since day one to now, my work ethic and my mentality towards work. I've never given less of a percentage from then to now. It's always been 100%. And I think when you care about something, there can be a lot smarter people in the world than you, and there are millions and millions, if not billions, of smarter people than me. But if you care about something and give it your everything, that has so much more value than someone who's, you know, Ivy League educated and, like, you know, can come in. Because if you don't understand the business, and I've done it all, like from the bottom to the top. I've worked the whole way through. I can make you a great cup of coffee. I can book you a flight. I can write a tweet. I can write a shit press release, not very well. You know, I can matchmake a fight. I can I can do it all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm an expert at all of it, but I have an understanding across the board of it all. And I think, you know, so many people in senior positions get put in those positions, and that's the difference with Matchroom, is people come through and they're given opportunities. And if you're good, you're good. It doesn't matter who you are. And if you're shit, shit.
As brutal as it gets. Two more on sort of this topic. What's been when you look back now, your best time in boxing where you go, you know what, that was a moment, or is there one that sticks out where you go, fuck me, that was incredible, like, or a most enjoyable time? Top two, because I know you've had
there was a couple, like recently, Beterbiev, the Bivol Beterbiev fight, Bivol beating Beterbiev to become undisputed. That was because as well, you know, like, and I said this in an interview then, I work with a lot of people, right, over the years, and a lot of people I'm sure won't like me, right, and there's a lot of people who I haven't always seen eye to eye with, but Dmitry Bivol is a nice guy. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, when you see nice people do well, there's a lot of people who aren't nice, and that's in all walks of life. But when you see nice people do well in any walk of life, it's much nicer, right? And Dmitry Bivol is a nice bloke. So to see him succeed was great, and to be a part of that journey. I'd say probably like Joshua Klitschko and Joshua Ruiz too. You know, those events where you look around and you go, look at what we created. And look, obviously without the athletes, but still, to put on shows, that's our business. So when you look around, you go, look at what we did here. Like, those for me are moments where you see the journey, and it's been great.
Because I think often in this game, you bounce from an event like this week. We've just talked off camera what our schedules are. You're going to Sydney, then you come in to Vegas for Ryan Mayer. You know this job from all angles, whoever works in it. If you do it properly and you want to be successful, you try and go as many places as you can. So you often don't get to look back and go, oh, you know, that was amazing, because before you know it, the phone rings and you have a fight to make, an event to build, and, you know, it's difficult. So in terms of the flip side of that, what's been the worst time where you've gone, fuck's sake, you know, not necessarily that I don't want to do this anymore, but you know what, I've had enough of this? Because there must be times, I know you say you don't get stressed, but there must be times where you just thought, fuck's sake, this is, what is going on?
I think probably, I've been on such like a whirlwind of years where it just goes back to back to back that you don't really, like the travelling, to get on with it, to be honest. Probably the time when I made that builder comment, which, do you know what? It wasn't even. Do you know? It was probably the first time where I went on social media and I thought, "Fuck me, I'll just throw this thing in the sea." But what frustrated me more about that was, look, everyone can have their opinion, and rightly so. You can have a view on me. What frustrated me more was people I know, right, who know me as an individual and know the way I am, who said things where I thought, do you know what? You know that I wouldn't have meant it in the way, like if I would have said this the other day, if I would have said accountant or estate agent, no one would have said anything. That's the reality of, and I think what frustrated me more is people who knew me or know me and sort of played along with it, because they all want view, you know, and that was probably the one time where I thought, what on earth am I doing it? Because I also am not, I do a lot of interviews, but it's not my sole focus. I love Excel spreadsheets. I said that a million times. I love the back end of things. I love working, and so like this is a part of my job that I have to do, but it's not the focus of what I want to do. And
You're not obligated either. And look, when I ask you for your time, when you actually text back, I'm like, look, that for me is like a fuck me, Frank's here. I don't expect you to be every beck and call. So the fact you do go, yeah, we do a bit, that's great.
I think also what else frustrates me is there's so many people who shy away from questions in this industry, and like play games with it all. And it's like, I'm quite straight talking, and the reality is that has been to the detriment of me. I think we're in a sport where, and maybe not just boxing, but athletes like to hear nice things, and they want to hear good, positive things. Don't always want to hear the truth, because the reality is there's a lot of athletes are surrounded by people who want to be involved and just yes men, and will say what they want to hear. My view on life is, I'll just be honest with you, and short term that makes a relationship a bit harder, because if you're honest with someone when they've got someone blowing smoke up their arse on the other side who hasn't got a clue what they're talking about, you look like the arsehole, right? And I think for so long, relationships, over 10 years, you'll go, do you know, he was right, or, fair play. Because I will always tell you the truth. Whereas we're in an industry where people just talk shit. And people, whether it's true or not, like hearing things that are nice.
But isn't that better for you? Because, and I've always said this...
It's better long term. It's better long term, but not short term. When you're working with someone, short term it makes things difficult. Whereas if you just have an open, frank discussion, long term it works out.
I always said this, someone asking me about work, and they said I sort of operate this sleep at night policy. Can I go to sleep at night knowing that I've not sort of been fake, I've done what I can today, I've not sort of short on myself. And I sort of think if you can sleep at night knowing, well look, I was honest, no one can ever then go to you, oh, Frank's a bit of a fucking snake. Because you'd just say, no, look, you're a...
I've said it to so many people, like my view. And again, that's where I always say, you don't have to get on with someone to work with someone. If it makes sense, for and you both are like cool. I smile at a lot of people I don't necessarily have the best relationship with, because life's too short. And but I won't lie. I won't sit there and act like, I'll tell you to your face what I think of you. I'll say in an interview what I think of someone, because too many two-faced people in this business who say shit behind someone's back and then come on here and go, oh yes, no.
Yeah, you've been very open. I know there was a lot going back and forth with yourself and Ben Shalom. That was another thing. I think there was an interview that went out. It just says, I don't like Ben Shalom. I think I read the headline. It weren't one of my interviews, but we knew that. But you're not lying necessarily, and you've always said, don't have to like you to do a few quid, do some good business.
Yeah, look, I want to run a business. I want to make money, and I'm not going to lie though at the same time just to make someone feel good about themselves. If I don't like the way someone operates, I'm going to say it. And that's my opinion. My opinion, don't worry about my opinion. That's just what I say. You don't have to worry about me. Do you get where I'm coming from? And I think it's better to be that way than two-faced, because so many people, again, like I say, will say things behind people's back, and then when it comes to it, I'm not going to say anything.
I want to just talk about one thing, because we've sort of gone off the boxing topic here, and it's been like a bit of a life journey. It's been different. How is it in boxing for you with sort of the family ties you have in the business? So obviously everybody knows your situation. We've got this Conor Benn and Chris Eubank fight coming up. What's that like for you, sort of being in that sphere, knowing obviously who your partner is, who they're related to, and the fighters that you actually promote on the opposite scale? Does that ever sort of, I don't know, not conflict, but is it difficult? How do you manage that? I'm
very my work and personal life, I'm a completely different person in my personal life, and I separate the two. And I have a professional obligation with Conor Benn to do the best thing for Conor Benn, and Chris has people around him to do the best thing for, and that's negotiation, isn't it? You go back and forth until you get somewhere where you both agree. And when it comes to fighting, it doesn't matter what I think. Like I said the other day, you could send me into a camp and you could say, what's he working on? I wouldn't have a clue. But I'm not a trainer. I'm not professing to be a boxing expert. If you go in there and say he's working on his jab footwork, don't know, mate. So they're going to get in the ring, they're going to have a fight, and the best man's going to win. And it's completely irrelevant what I think. I just I've always said, about that fight, it's the biggest fight for both of them. Makes the most money for both of them. Fair play. It's a tough sport. You want to go and do the things that deliver you the best possible opportunities, and that's the one. And I've always said that. I'd say it personally, I'd say it in business. And I separate the lines completely. Business is business, it's my job, and my personal life is my personal life. It doesn't really get involved. So it's interesting. It's interesting. It's been interesting times in the whole, thing, and I've been through, and I think that's where as well people have a view on things and will say things, and it's like makes it a bit harder, but yeah, I just take it as it comes.
Did you watch the Piers Morgan with Conor and Chris? Have you watched it all yet?
No, bits and bits. I've seen the clips. I've seen a lot of the clips. I haven't watched it all.
Yeah. Excited, as a part of the business? It's a huge event.
Yeah, but like I say, I've spent the last 3 years working on it, and I've never tried. I've always said that's the fight I wanted to make. In the sport, whenever I asked, I never shied away from it. It's a huge event. It's a huge spectacle. It's going to be a massive moment. So yeah, I'm buzzing for it, and I'm glad we finally got it done. Because it took years. Well, there was obviously lots of things that happened, but it took a lot of work and a lot of effort, and it's going to be a great night. And April 26th at Tottenham is going to be one that we'll never forget.
Got to quickly touch on this card here. A lot of sort of variables. Jaleel Hackett sadly falls off the card. He was in a great rematch. Fair play for him to taking that originally. Saw him yesterday with the thing round his leg. Not great for him. Edgar Berlanga sadly missed the weight by a couple of pounds, but came to a negotiation with his opponent. And we see Ammo Williams return against a game opponent in Volney at the top of the card. Excited. It's quite an intimate venue, this at the Caribe Royale, but it's a good night of boxing.
Yeah, great night. Look, amazing venue, Caribe Royale. We're going to have 4,000 people in there tonight. It's going to be a great atmosphere as well. We've done a few shows here. A lot of promoters have done shows here. I'm excited for it. Ammo Williams, someone we've worked with since his professional debut. It's just that he's another one, a nice person that you want to see succeed. He's got a real fight against Volney, but if he can come through this, he's in a division that probably lacks names in truth, for the most part, and isn't far off from challenging for a world title. And if he could get his hands on a world title, he's got it all, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's got the character that most of the fighters in that division don't really have. So excited for him. Edgar Berlanga back out, obviously coming off the back of that Canelo Alvarez fight. He's got to get through it tonight. It's obviously unfortunate with the weight, but get him in the ring. Amari Jones, professional debut.
Amari Jones, yeah.
Someone from the obviously the Paris US Olympic team. Excited for what he's got to bring. It's the start of a journey. We've been in these journeys or the beginning of these journeys for a long time, and that I'm excited to see what he's going to do, because he's here. He sold 600-700 tickets himself. You don't really hear of that in American boxing, especially. So that journey starts, and we've been here, like I say, many a times, going down these paths from professional debut, and I can't wait to see over the next 5-6 years where that comes to. Jermaine Ortiz as well, Pablo Valdez, Carlos De Leon as well. So, yeah, excited for the card. And then we're off to Sydney next week for another one.
Yeah. Sydney, then Vegas,
and
then
Manchester,
back Manchester for Altrincham.
Yeah. And then Philly. No, Atlantic City, sorry, for Jaron Ennis against Danny Onis.
What a fight, by the way.
Yeah, and then Dalton Smith, Jermaine. And then you got April 26th, the big one, Eubank Ben. May 2nd, we're in Times Square. May 3rd, obviously Canelo. May 17th, Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen rematch. So much to look forward to.
You know what, the last 10 seconds there, you sounded like your counterpart, Mr. Hearn, when he's rattling off that schedule. But
yeah, but he's got a bit more energy than me. I'm the monotone backroom guy.
Yeah, Frank Smith, appreciate you giving us half an hour of your time, Neil. And we will catch up after this fight, but I really appreciate it.
Cheers, Ben. Good to see you.